Hey guys, Nate here. So I wanted to talk you through how I look at performance training and strength training specifically on how I would program or how I do program an athlete that I see. So what my goal is to do is to create a balanced athlete. So somebody that's going to be able to withstand every sort of athletic endeavor or any obstacle that they may encounter. And to do that, you're going to want to create balance between their whole body. So upper body strength, lower body strength, front side of their body, back side of their body. So this does a couple of things. One, it improves performance because a more balanced athlete produces more power, produces more ability. They're able to get into positions a little bit better, and they're able to produce a little bit more force in those positions. The second thing it does is there's been a lot of evidence that shows that it drastically reduces injury when we're balanced and different asymmetries are taken care of. So we don't want one side stronger than the other, and so having a system in place or having a foundation in place really helps to create this balance within an athlete. So when I'm thinking about programming an athlete, I split things up and then look at the end goal at what all can be split up, what everything can be split up into to make sure we're hitting on everything. And this doesn't necessarily mean they will get hit on every day that I program somebody, but they'll get hit within a week, and then when in there or sometime throughout their program, depending on how the person is responding, how the athlete presents. Maybe they're stronger on their front side right now, and their backside needs a little bit more strength. So we're hitting the backside a little bit more in that period of time. So how I break it up, how I view athletes. So you have upper body strength and lower body strength. So right there, we already have a kind of a divide there to make sure that we're hitting lower body just as even as upper body. Even for a baseball player, where you think of throwing, there's a lot of force that's generated through the body, through the lower half of the body, your legs, that generates that force to be able to throw the ball hard and even to sprint. That we're going to have to make sure our lower body stays strong, and we're continuing to work on that and not just their upper body. Okay, so from here we're going to split these up into even more. For upper body and lower body, they're both going to have what I call a push and a pull. So upper body comes here, you have a push and a pull, which both of these, I would say a push is what you consider, I'm thinking of movements, not just isolated muscles, but a push is something you're getting away from your body, and a pull is something you're pulling back to your body. So when you think of an upper body push, a bench press is what I would consider a push because the weight's close to your body and you're pushing it away. A pull would be like a row where you have weight away from you and you're pulling it close. The lower body, a push and a pull, a push is kind of the same thing. It just looks a little different. It's a little harder to imagine, but a push would be something that I would consider like a squat. You're pushing that force upward and away from your body. A pull would be considered like a deadlift. So you're the weight's on the ground and you're pulling that weight up to you again. So push and a pull for your lower body and a push and a pull for your upper body. Okay? So think movements, not necessarily muscles, because when you think about movements, you're not going to miss muscles. But if you think of specific muscles, you may miss a big movement pattern, which puts you at a little bit of a detriment. Okay? So within the push and pull for your upper body, you can have a vertical push and a vertical pull, and then a horizontal push and pull. So you have a vertical and you have horizontal. So both on here. So what this means, vertical. Vertical, I'm thinking overhead. So if you think almost like a military press, you're pushing the weight straight over your head. For a horizontal push, you're thinking the bench press. So it's just in line with your chest. So think of where the arm's going, either up or out. Same thing with a pull. Your vert pulling is going to be straight down. So you're going to do almost like a lat pull down or a pull up. Horizontal is that row, so it stays in line with your chest. Okay? So again, we got 4 categories here now that we have to make sure that we program for, so that we're staying balanced just from the front side of your body to the back side of your body. The other thing that we have to think about for the upper body, we have 2 arms. Now you can load it completely differently. You can do 1 arm or you can do 2 arms with each thing. So you have single arm, SA is going to be single arm, or you have double arm. So you have a vertical single arm would be a 1 arm military press. And what that does is it starts to challenge a lot of stability, as opposed to when you go double arm, you're starting to stress a lot of mobility. So staying balanced between stability and mobility is king as well. So you want a single arm and a double arm for both horizontal and vertical. Horizontal push would be bench press. You can do a single arm bench press, or you can do a double arm bench press as well, or you can do an incline press as well. And that's going to be a little nuance where there might be a little bit of a mix between a vertical and a horizontal. But same thing for a pull. Vertical, you could have single arm, you can have double arm, and then horizontal, same thing, single arm, double arm. So same thing that I was talking about before. A vert single arm pull would be, you could just do a lat pull down, either half kneeling on one knee and pulling down, or you can do a vertical double arm would be a pull up. Okay, so right there, we actually have 8 categories of exercises that we need to make sure that we're targeting. Okay, so we can move over to lower body now, where push pull. Now, the one thing that I will say for lower body, we don't necessarily have a vertical and a horizontal designation, but we do still have it's not going to be arm, it's going to be single leg and double leg categories. Now, what I would say, the single leg more or less implies that it's going to be a split pelvis to me. So what that means is, if you're doing a lower body push, a double leg may look more like a squat. So different squat variations, whether it's a goblet squat where both feet are lined up together, or it can be a single leg step up where your pelvis is split. One leg is bent initially and one leg's extended. So your hip is flexed and your leg is extended. So that's where you get your double leg and single leg. Again, same thing when I was talking about double arm and single arm for upper body. Your double leg is working and keying on a little bit of mobility. It's really going to challenge your mobility aspects, while single leg is going to be a little bit more stability focused. Okay, and then same thing for your pull. You have a double leg or single leg pulling. So this is, like I said, pulling for your lower body looks more like a deadlift or a posterior chain or backside of your legs, almost like a hip dominant lifting. Double leg, we can easily think of just like a deadlift, barbell deadlift. Single leg would be a single leg RDL or single leg deadlift, where you're just coming back on one. Again, you're on one leg, but it's a little bit more of a split pelvis, and it's really challenging more of your stability aspects and getting strong through there, so that you become balanced between mobility and stability. So if I'm looking at this, I have a total of, so there's 4 for your lower body and there's 8 for your upper body. So there's 12 categories that I want to hit. So within a week's time, where we're programming, if we program kind of week to week, I would want to make sure that I'm hitting kind of all these categories, so for a balanced athlete. Now, I would say, like I said earlier, if somebody's a little bit more strong in one of these categories, so say somebody might be super strong in their pulling, both vertical and horizontal, but they're weak in their push, vertical and horizontal, I may start to program a little bit more vertical and horizontal pushing, and a little less, not saying I'm not going to touch it, but I'd program a little less pulling, so that they can become balanced again. And then once they do become balanced, then I even it back out in their program. Okay, guys? If you have any questions on that, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to talk this through with you. But If any of this is kind of muddy, just let me know and we can talk it out. Okay? Thanks, guys.